I saw that you guys liked the way I did my Zelda tier list video, so I thought I'd make another video in the same style, but this time with Sonic the Hedgehog. As you can see, we're not just talking about the mainline Sonic games, we're also covering animated movies, animated series, ROM hacks, fan games, and even comic book series. If you're okay with that, just sit back and enjoy. Now, we all know Sonic is pretty fast, but he could probably go a little faster if he had a taste of today's sponsor, Poggers. Now, this is my channel's first sponsor, and I don't want to recommend you guys something I wouldn't try myself, so I got some green apple flavor here, and I'm gonna try it out. If you're looking for a healthier alternative to energy drinks, Poggers has all-natural caffeine extracted from green tea with 0 sugar and no artificial colors. Now, one scoop may not look like a lot, but it's loaded with 200 milligrams of caffeine, so it's sure to kickstart your day in a healthy way. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's green apple, but I can also taste a hint of green tea in there too. Also, Poggers has been my hero this week. I've been drinking it at work, and it's really getting me through my 12.5-hour work days at the factory. There's no crash either, which I really appreciate. To get 10% off your purchase and to help support Arcade Cafe, you can use the code ARCADECAFE at checkout. That code expires March 16th, 2025, so don't miss out. Thank you to Poggers for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the video. So if you've seen my Zelda video, then you know that I have a never played section on my tier lists. And in that Zelda video, there were a lot of games that I never played. And as a Zelda fan, I'm a little ashamed of that. But good God, as a Sonic fan, I am devastated, but I want to go ahead and get my never played section out of the way, so let's rapid fire through these games and give reasons for why I may not have played them. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 for the Sega Master System, Game Gear, and Genesis. I've played Sonic 1, just not on any of those systems. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Master System and Game Gear. I've played Sonic 2, just not on those systems. Sonic and Knuckles, I've just never played it. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 and 2, I've just never played them, and for what I've heard about these games, I don't want to? Sonic Mania Plus. I've played the original Sonic Mania, and I finished it, but I've never played this Plus version. What does it have, like extra DLC or something? Knuckles Chaotix. I've just never played it. Sonic Spinball on the Game Gear. I've played Sonic Spinball, just not on the Game Gear. Flicky. I've never even heard of this game until today. I mean, I know what a Flicky is, I just never knew the Flickies got their own game. Dr.Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on the Game Gear. I have played Mean Bean Machine, just not on the Game Gear. Sonic Triple Trouble. I don't know what that is. Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit. Again, I don't know what that is. Hi, Tyler from the future here. This is actually a fan game, which is a 2D reimagining of Sonic Triple Trouble by Noah N. Copeland. I gotta say, that sprite work is really well done. Sonic Drift 16-bit, another fan game by Noah. Again, great sprite work. And Sonic Drift 2. I've never heard of Sonic Drift. Sonic Labyrinth. Never heard of it. Sonic Chaos. Never heard of it. Sonic Blast. I've played Sonic 3D Blast. I don't know what Sonic Blast is, but I am curious. No, Google, I'm not talking about the damn shake. Game. Oh. Tails Adventure. I didn't know Tails got his own game. Tails Sky Patrol. Again, I didn't know Tails got his own game. Sega Sonic? I've never heard of it. I can barely read that. Computer, enhance. Sega Sonic Bros? Is that multiple Sonics? What even? Okay. Sega Sonic Bros. What is it, like another Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, but this time with 3 different colored Sonics? Sonic in a spaceship. I'm sorry, I can't read Japanese. Hi, Tyler from the future here. The game is actually called You play a Sonic in a spaceship and you fly around and shoot stuff. Sonic Cop? Is he a cop? This game is actually called Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car. You play as Sonic and you drive responsibly. Well, about as responsibly as Sonic can. Both this game and Cosmo Fighter were arcade cabinet rides in Japan in the 90s. Sega Sonic Popcorn Shop. What? This one's actually pretty cool. It was a popcorn machine with a built-in minigame where you made popcorn with Sonic and Tails when you had to run away from Eggman. It came with 3 flavors: butter, salt, and chili. Man, I really would have liked to try that chili one. Tails and the Music Maker. Again, what? Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World. I've never heard of it. Sonic Schoolhouse.
I'm Sonic. Click on me for help.
No thank you. Sonic Eraser. Is that another educational game?
No.
Sonic Crackers. Consider me interested. What am I looking at? Sonic Extreme! Okay, but how extreme? Well, that camera view is pretty extreme. Sonic Jam? Never heard of it. Sonic Jam Game.com? Again, never heard of it. Sonic Mega Collection and Mega Collection Plus. I've heard of these collections, I just never owned it. Sonic Classic Collection. Is that not the same thing?
No.
Sonic Origins. I have Sonic Origins Plus, and apparently they counted it as two separate things on here, so I guess I don't have this one, but I do have Plus. The original Sonic Adventure. I never played the original Sonic Adventure, but I have played the DX version. For what I've heard, the DX version is not as good as the original, but the DX version is the only one I've played. Sonic Adventure 2, the original. I've played Sonic Adventure 2. Battle. Is Battle very different from the original? I wouldn't really know. Sonic Legacy of Stellaris? Is this like a mod of Sonic 06? Or like a secret DLC that I've never heard of? Sonic Unleashed on the PS2. I did play Sonic Unleashed, but not on the PlayStation 2. Sonic Unleashed Mobile. I never knew there was a mobile version of this game until today. Sonic Unleashed Project what? Sonic Eyes? Sonic Colors on the DS. I have played Sonic Colors, just not on the DS. Project Sonic Colors Re-Rainbow. Never heard of it. It's just a nicer remaster of Sonic Colors. Sonic Generations on the 3DS. Didn't play it on the 3DS. Sonic Lost World. I never played it. Sonic Lost World on the 3DS. I haven't played it either. Sonic Forces Overclocked. I have, unfortunately, played Sonic Forces, but not this overclocked version. Sonic Dream Team. I've heard this game is good, I've never played it. Sonic Pocket Adventure. I don't know what that is. Sonic Advance. I've heard of it, never played it. Sonic N. Never heard of it. Sonic Advance 2. Never heard of it. Sonic Advance 3. Never heard of it. Sonic Rush Adventure. I've heard of Sonic Rush. I've never heard of Sonic Rush Adventure. Sonic Rivals. I don't know what that is. Sonic Rivals 2. Well, whatever it was good enough to get a sequel. Sonic Runners and Sonic Runners Adventure. Never heard of these games. Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. I have played Sonic Riders, but I've never played Zero Gravity. Sega Superstars Tennis. Never played it. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. I have played some Sonic racing games, just not this one. Team Sonic Racing. Haven't played this one either. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. So while I was in the middle of making this video, Sega sent me an invite to the closed network test for Sonic Cross Worlds. I made a video about it, so I'll leave a link to it in the description. I won't be ranking it here in this video because the game is still in beta, but I had a blast playing it, and I cannot wait for the full release. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Winter Games, London Games, Rio Games, all on the DS's. I've never played any DS Olympic game. Sonic Athletics. I've never heard of it. Sonic Shuffle. I've heard of it, never played it. Sonic Pinball Party, never heard of it. Sonic Battle, never heard of it. Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. I've heard of it, never played it. The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. I know about it, never played it. Sonic Rumble. Heard of it, never played it. Sonic Jump. I don't know what that is. Sonic Jump Fever. I don't know what that is. Sonic Dash Plus. I played Sonic Dash, I don't know what this plus thing is. Sonic Dash 2 Sonic Boom. I played Sonic Dash. I didn't know there was anything other than just Sonic Dash. Sonic Forces Speed Battle. Is that a mod? Is that a fan game?
No.
I've never even heard of that. Sonic Racing. Never played that one. Sega Heroes.
Brother, what's that?
All of the versions of Sonic Boom. Never played. I don't think I want to play. Sonic Speed Simulator. Oh, what? Sonic X Leapster. Nope, never heard of it. So the next few games are Sonic fan games that I've never played, but they all look really cool and I want to make sure that they all get their time in the spotlight. So I'll make sure to credit the creators as I go. First up is Sonic Before the Sequel by Lake Feppard. The backgrounds here look amazing. Sonic After the Sequel by Compound Games. Again, those backgrounds look incredible. Sonic Time Twisted by Overbound has a cool premise about stopping Metal Sonic from resurrecting his creator, and it all has a cool time travel theme. Sonic the Fallen Star by Stardrop adds its own unique art style, and it's very vibrant and colorful. Sonic Robo Blast 2 by Sonic Team Jr. mixes 3D environments with 2D sprites in a really satisfying way. Sonic Robo Blast 2 Kart by Kart Crew Dev. This is a mod of Sonic Robo Blast 2, so I guess you could call it a mod of a mod that includes kart racing. It really gives me Mario Kart 64 vibes. Dr.Robotnik's Ring Racers, another one by Kart Crew Dev. It looks to be a cranked up version of Robo Blast 2 Kart. It looks really fun, pretty chaotic. Speaking of Robo Blast 2, what happened to Robo Blast 1? I don't see it here on the tier list. Well, I had to do some digging, but I found it. It goes without saying that I've never played it, but Sonic Robo Blast 1 by Earless Team has really fluent sprite work and a great soundtrack. Sonic GT by Gabriel Gonzalez is a really cool 3D Sonic game with levels made from the ground up. Sonic World DX by the World Team looks like another 3D Sonic game with a ton of content. At this point, you're probably wondering, has this man ever played a f***ing Sonic game? Big's Big Fishing Adventure 3. Where are the other two games? Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That's the original, but I've played Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. And this is just a generalization of the Archie comics. I know there are a lot of Sonic Archie comics. I've just never read a single one, but I have read the IDW Sonic comics. Those are great. Alright, we finally got all of those out of the way. Let's get on to the actual tier list. So I think the first place we should start is where everything started for me, and that's the Sonic Gems collection. Now, the Sonic Gems collection was my first exposure to the Sonic the Hedgehog series, and the first game I ever played on it was Sonic CD. But since we're just talking about the collection, I'm gonna go ahead and give that, I want to give it an S rank. I think it's one of the best Sonic collections ever made. It's got like Sonic Fighters, Sonic CD, I think it's got Sonic 1, 2, and 3. It's even got some other games like Vector Man. That game's awesome. Okay, hold on. My never played section is taking up so much space on the damn screen. So just remember that the last thing we'll cover today is the Sonic IDW comics. So I'm gonna move my entire never played section past that point. Okay, yeah, that's a lot better. But yeah, the Sonic Gems collection, an amazing collection, S tier. So if I'm being honest, Sonic 1, 2, and 3, and even CD, to an extent, they all kind of mesh together in my mind because of the very similar gameplay, but there are some things that stick out to me, so I'm going to be kind of going through these quickly. Sonic 1 started it all, and so I think it goes in B. Sonic 2 lets you play catch co-op with a buddy, so that's always cool. I also like the levels in Sonic 2, so I'm going to put that in A. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I really like playing as Knuckles, so I'm going to also put that in A. Sonic CD, now I'm going to slow down and talk about this one. Sonic CD was my first ever exposure to Sonic. It was magical, opening up that game and then seeing that opening of him just like running, and it's just like, it's such a beautiful opening, and the song that plays, Sonic Boom, is so kick-ass. But the opening of the game is really all I remember about this game. I know it plays like Sonic 1, 2, and 3, but I can't for the life of me really remember many of the levels from these games. It's been such a long time since I've played them. But for me, Sonic CD also goes in A. I mean, yeah, it gets nostalgia points, but that opening is so hardcore. The Sonic the Hedgehog animated movie. So I think I watched this a while back with a group of friends, and the voice acting is something. Me and my friends could not stop laughing watching this show. But I remember having a good time watching it, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in B. The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I used to have this on DVD a long time ago. They're fun. They're okay. and I've gone back to watch some of them, and I don't think they hold a candle to animated Sonic shows these days, and I'm definitely not their target demographic anymore. If I'm being honest, I think this goes in D. It's enjoyable, it's not bad. It just doesn't really have a plot, you know, it doesn't really go anywhere. It's really just a show made for kids. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. God, I played this a long time ago. I think I might have emulated it. It's okay. Kind of reminds me of Tetris, but not really. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was great. Yeah, this also goes in D. The Sonic the Hedgehog series. Now, I like this series. It's got my girl Sally. If you've seen my Sonic recipe book video, you know how much I love Sally. I remember a couple of episodes of this show. They were like freedom fighters, right? And Dr. Robotnik was like super evil in this one. He even looked evil. But my favorite thing about the show was the opening.
Blue streak speeds by, Sonic the Hedgehog, too fast for the naked eye. Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive.
Yeah, man, it's a classic. I have a lot of nostalgia for this show. For me, this goes up into B. Sonic Underground. The show itself, it's not for me, and I'm not its target demographic, but that opening is kick-ass.
Triplets born, the throne awaits. A seer warns of a deadly fate. Give up your children, separate. Bide your time, lie in wait. Sonic Underground, Sonic Underground. They made a vow their mother will be found.
That opening does not need to go as hard as it does. If it was just the show, it would go in D, but because of that opening, it's getting bumped up to C. Sonic the Fighters. Now, in anticipation for this video, I did go back to a lot of Sonic games to replay them to kind of refresh myself, and I did go back and play this one. And you know what? This game kind of kicks ass. Like, it's not some half-baked fighting game like there's characters and they've got combos. The game actually gets really challenging. The music's pretty great too. But also, I played this game a long time ago, so going back to play this was such a great trip down memory lane. If you haven't played Sonic the Fighters, I highly recommend it, because I'm going to shoot it straight up to A rank. Sonic Mania. I usually prefer 3D Sonic. I don't mind 2D Sonic, but 3D is more of my preference. But just from a glance, you can tell that Sonic Mania is such a love letter to the series. It's hard not to love it. The controls are smooth and precise. The art style is absolutely incredible. And that soundtrack, ooh, that soundtrack. So many good songs from this game. Crazy to believe this game wasn't made by Sega's internal team, but was instead done by a team of fans that were hired by Sega to make the game. And their love really shows. I enjoyed the heck out of Sonic Mania, and for me, this is an easy S-tier Sonic game. And now we fall on the opposite side of the spectrum for me. Sonic Superstars. I did not have a good time with this game. When the game works, it's an okay 2D Sonic game, but 90% of the time, this game would not run properly for me. I was playing the PS5 version. I was running into constant glitches, and the game would just not stay stable long enough for me to really play it. I haven't revisited the game since, so they may have patched out a bunch of those glitches, so sometime I may have to give it another chance, but as it stands right now, this is an F tier for me. Sonic R. Now this is a blast from the past. A Sonic racing game where everybody's running. Gosh, that just makes sense, doesn't it? Honestly, I don't know why more Sonic games are not like this. Why have we never gotten another Sonic R? I'm sure if I went back to play it today, it probably doesn't control as well as I remember, but I remember having a blast with this game. Plus, I really love this game's groovy soundtrack. I'm gonna give Sonic R a B. Sonic Spinball. It's Sonic, it's just pinball. The hell, I love pinball. Not much to say here, but I'll give it a C. Sonic 3D Blast. Now, from what I remember of this game, it plays a lot like Kirby's Dream Course, but Sonic. But at the time, I had never played Kirby's Dream Course, and this game just really wasn't for me, and honestly today, it's still really not for me. It's an ugly looking game, but I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a D. Sonic Origins Plus. If we're just ranking the collection, it's not a bad collection. They also added some quality of life changes to Sonic 1, 2, and 3, like removing the life system, and that's something I really appreciate because I believe that lives in games are an outdated kind of system. I should make a video on that. But yeah, Sonic Origins. I don't think it has anything on the Sonic Gems collection, but I don't think it's a bad collection either, so B is what it gets. Sonic Adventure DX. Now, I played Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 very recently for the first time, and I'm probably going to get crucified for saying some of the opinions that I'm about to say. But as for the first game, it really wasn't for me. I don't think this game looks that great, but the biggest thing that really killed this game for me was that I just have no idea where the hell to go. I constantly got lost and didn't know what to do. Plus, who the hell mixed the audio in this game? I can barely ever hear what someone is saying.
Oh, yes! It's just as the stone tablets predicted. His strength increases every time I feed him a Chaos Emerald. With all 7 emeralds in him, he'll be invincible and work for me!
I know a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for this game, but I don't because I played it for the first time recently. In my personal opinion, Sonic Adventure DX is... well, no, I think that's a little harsh. Actually, you know what? I don't care. F tier. Hey, Tyler from the future here, and I think past B is actually tripping. F rank is way too harsh. Sonic Adventure's got some cool vibes, and it's at least a playable game. It might be a confusing one, but it's playable. Personally, it's still not my cup of tea, but I think it at least deserves D rank. So just pretend that F rank placement on screen is a D rank. The game's also got some great music, and you've ranked games higher just for their music, you damn hypocrite. Now, on the opposite end of that spectrum, Sonic Adventure 2 is f***ing lit, specifically Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I played this game immediately after playing Sonic Adventure DX, and this game is such a huge jump in quality. I can see why so many people love this game. I never felt lost, combat's pretty fun, the set pieces are pretty damn cool, and the music, oh dude, that's like the cherry on top of this game. Now the first time I ever heard the song Live and Learn was from Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Sonic's the name, speed's my game.
So I do have nostalgia for that song, just not from this game. But I did still really enjoy this game, and I think it deserves an A rank. In fact, let's put it at the top of A rank. And if we're doing it this way, let's rearrange some stuff a little bit. I think Sonic 3D Blast is better than Mean Bean Machine. I think Sonic Spinball is better than Sonic Underground. I think the Sonic the Hedgehog series goes to the top of B, Sonic R right behind it, Sonic Fighters behind Sonic 2 Battle. I like Sonic 3 more than Sonic 2, and I like Sonic CD more than Sonic 2. And Sonic Mania is straight up right now at the top of S rank. Sonic Heroes. Gameplay-wise, I love this game. I was really enjoying this game until the last few levels. I think it was like the casino level that really killed this game for me, because up to that point, I was having a blast with this game. But my biggest disappointment for Sonic Heroes was that when you switch teams, like Team Dark or Team Rose, you just play the same levels over again. Those last 2 levels really knock it down for me a bit. But I think Sonic Heroes deserves a B. About right here. The original Shadow the Hedgehog. I love the story of this game, don't get me wrong, and I love the kind of linear structure, and some of the set pieces are cool, but I do not love this game's progression system. Having to kill a certain amount of enemies to go down a certain path is incredibly tedious. I also really don't like the way weapons work in this game. Like, I know it's edgy for Shadow to use a gun, but I really don't want to use a gun. I want to use Shadow's powers, like chaos control in this game is amazing, because it lets you skip the bullshit. Like, it's playable, but honestly, probably goes to the top of D. Now this next one is a ROM hack by Limbless Vector and Dream Syntax called Shadow the Hedgehog Reloaded. It's just a better version of Shadow the Hedgehog. It has a lot of quality of life improvements. It lowers the number of enemies you have to kill to go down certain paths. Shadow controls way better in this game, and it lowers the amount of endings you have to get the true ending. With all the quality of life improvements with this one, I think it's just enough to bump it up to the bottom of C. It's not super fun to play, but I do think the reloaded version at least deserves a C, like a very low C. In fact, you know what? It's such a low C that it's a C minus. Sonic Rush. I played this a long time ago. I thought it was pretty fun. I don't have a lot to say about it. It was also my first exposure to Blaze the Cat. I like her as a character. So just for Blaze, I'm gonna go ahead and put Sonic Rush in C. Now, I played Sonic Riders a long time ago on the GameCube. I used to go over to my friend's house and we played on their GameCube. I didn't own the game personally. I don't remember much of the story, but I did watch Snapcube's dub of this game. I love them so much, man. I also love this game's art style. It's pretty cool and really appeals to my younger teenage self. Sonic is trying really hard in this game to be really cool, though I don't know why he needs a hoverboard when he can just run fast. Put it right below Sonic Heroes. Sonic Freeriders. I don't remember this game being very good at all. I went over to my friend Lance's house, and this was shortly after I think the Xbox Kinect came out. Does anybody remember the Xbox Kinect? But I just remember this thing constantly not reading my inputs. I remember us just having such a hard time even trying to play the game. I think it was like borderline unplayable. So just from what I remember of the game, it goes into F tier. Now we go into another animated show, Sonic X. Growing up, this show was my jam. I would get up super early on Saturday mornings, and it used to play on a channel called Jetix. It used to play shows like Super Robot Monkey Team, Hyperforce Go.
The robot monkeys were awakened, and I, Shiro, made their leader. Our quest, save Sugazoom City from the evils of the Skeleton King. Super Robot Monkey Team, Hyperforce Go! Fighting any evil, they are Sugazoom's hope. Super Robot Monkey Team, Hyperforce Go! Defeating any foe!
And it used to play an anime called Shinzo.
We're going Shinzo.
But it also used to play Sonic X. It's just a super anime Sonic series that was actually way more popular in the West than it was in Japan, though I think that's Sonic in general. A while back I did try to go back and revisit it, and while I still love the animation, I don't know, the writing is just, it feels pretty stale in the beginning at least. But I remember it ramping up incredibly. Like, I think they go into space at some point. Like, I think the show at some point does have some pretty high stakes. Plus, I love this show's intro. I barely ever skip the intro. But yeah, this show's a blast, and honestly, this is like going up to the top of, well, I kind of want to give it an A. I kind of want to give it a B. We'll go ahead and add a B+, and that is where Sonic X is going to sit. The original Sonic 06. I enjoyed this game a lot more than people did back then. While the game is pretty unstable, I don't think it was that bad. But the thing I really hated about the game was the loading screens. Good God, the loading screens.
What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night.
I don't think this game has the best Sonic story, but there are a lot of parts about it that I really like. I like its serious tone. I like its characters, you know, you get to play as Sonic, Shadow, and Silver.
What a thrill. I'm searching and I'll melt into you.
Also, this game's pre-rendered cutscenes were, like, they were so good, dude. Especially for the Xbox 360. I mean, I can see why a lot of people don't like this game, but it's got a place in my heart. It's got a weird, broken down apartment somewhere in my heart, and you're probably gonna roast me in the comments, but I'm gonna put Sonic 06.
What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme.
right here below Sonic R.
I give my life, not for honor, but for you.
Sonic Project 06. This is an absolute labor of love. It's a fan project made to make Sonic 06 an actually good, playable game. I don't think they changed anything about the story. This is purely just a focus on changing the gameplay, because they add so many quality of life features that the game just feels so good to play. It looks great. If you haven't tried it and you've got a pretty good PC, try Project 06. It's pretty dang fun. Now, I believe it's still a work in progress because I don't know if it has the story mode yet. I think it's just like a mission select. But there's so much love and work put into this that I honestly think it deserves a B+. Oh boy, here we go. Sonic and the Secret Rings. Now, if you've seen my Sonic recipe book video, you know that I love the Sonic storybook games. Now, gameplay-wise, they're not the greatest. They're not bad, but they're not great. But the story, dude, I love the story in these games. I love the way they're told. Well, the cutscenes are like a storybook, but also I don't know what it is about it, but I love just throwing Sonic into stories like, you know, Aladdin or King Arthur. It's just such a cool and interesting premise. But as for Sonic and the Secret Rings, it's got one of my favorite boss battles ever, Alf Layla Walela. It has one of the coolest Sonic transformations, Darkspine Sonic. Also, I think this game has a pretty fun party mode. But yeah, I definitely think that Sega should give the Sonic storybook games a second chance, because I think this game would be a lot more tolerable if you could just play it with a controller. Having to tilt the Wiimote back and forth to make Sonic go left or right is really annoying. But just from its presentation, premise, story, characters, and boss battles, I think that Sonic and the Secret Rings goes up into B+, just below Sonic X. Sonic Unleashed, and I assume we're talking about the Xbox 360 or PS3 version. Now, I didn't grow up with the PS3 version of Sonic Unleashed because I didn't have a PS3. I had an Xbox 360, but I just didn't have Sonic Unleashed for it. My first time playing Sonic Unleashed was on the Wii, but we'll get to that in a bit because these two versions are pretty different. The ones on PS3 are technically the bigger versions. You can like walk around town and accept missions. I think there are more levels. The game just runs and looks better. I played this version recently. 1 or 2 years ago, I did get a PS3, and then I acquired Sonic Unleashed, and it's great. But some weird part of me prefers the Wii version because I'm not a super huge fan of walking around town to select missions and stuff. But the speed sections in this game are by far the best in this version. And I also think there's more speed sections in this version of Sonic Unleashed. The opening to this game is the best Sonic opening ever. Well, not ever. I think it's kind of neck and neck with Sonic CD's intro. I would say I like Sonic CD's intro a bit more because I love the hand-drawn look a bit, but good God, you cannot deny that this is one of the best Sonic intros ever made. But yeah, Sonic Unleashed, it's got one of the coolest final boss battles ever, Dark Gaia. The way you fight them and like, it's like the temples come together and you become like a giant temple mech, and then you're like, you play as the giant mech and you fight Dark Gaia, then you play as Sonic and you run on the temples, and then you become Super Sonic and you fight Dark Gaia. Dude, it's just so damn cool. But this version of Sonic Unleashed, for me, gets a B. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put it at the top of B. You know what? The top of B. In the Sonic Unleashed Wii version, everything's kind of streamlined. Instead of going around town, it kind of turns a little bit into a visual novel, but it's like a mission select. I just kind of prefer the more linear and streamlined version of Sonic Unleashed. It still looks great. It's still fun to play. Oh, and I think something we should cover about this game, because I didn't even talk about it with the PS3 version. Let's talk about the nighttime werewolf sections. You know, they're not the greatest. I like the music of I like all the music in this game, but I especially like the music for the nighttime Werehog sections because they're just super jazzy and catchy. Although I do really get tired of that battle theme that good God, that's enough to give you a headache for how much it plays. Oh God, now that I'm thinking about all the Werehog sections and how much I absolutely did not like them that much, I think that really knocks it down to a C, dude. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a C+ tier because that's where I think Sonic Unleashed for the Wii is for me. I'm gonna put Sonic Unleashed at the top of C. Like I said, I just prefer how streamlined and linear this version of the game is. This isn't here on the tier list, but I'd like to include it as a bonus since we're talking about Sonic Unleashed. The Halloween animation, Sonic Night of the Werehog. It's a really enjoyable and really well made short animation about Sonic and Chip going inside a haunted mansion filled with spooky ghosts. If I were to rank it here on the tier list, I'd give it a B+. Sonic and the Black Knight. Now we're cooking. Like I said, I love the storybook Sonic games, and this is my favorite out of the two. You still control Sonic in the same way, but you swing the Wiimote to swing the sword, and I don't know, it just makes sense in this one, like, because it's a sword. I don't know, something about Sonic with a sword in my teenage brain was just so fucking cool. Plus, it's the world of Arthur and the Knights of the Round, and it's all fantasy with dragons and magic, and yeah, dude, I was down for it, man. In the fight, like, there are so many good fights and levels I love in this game. The party mode's fun too, and the final boss is one of my favorite final bosses in the series. But Excalibur Sonic is the best Sonic transformation of all time. Like, Super Sonic is cool, but Excalibur Sonic is just Super Sonic on crack. I've played this game a lot, man. And there's also sections where you can play as Shadow and Knuckles and even Blaze. Although, I mean, I know that's not their names. It's what? Lancelot, Gwen, and Percival. They're all super fun to play as, and they each have their own fighting style. I know we'll never get another storybook Sonic game, but dude, I'm begging you, Sega. A bit controversial, but I'm gonna put Sonic and the Black Knight at the top of A. Is it boosted by nostalgia? A little bit. But dude, Sonic with a sword, that's just cool, man. Any way you slice it. The original Sonic colors for the Wii. Dude, I have so many feel-good memories about this game. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. I love Sonic Colors, man. It's such a good time. The game plays really well. Every single level is really well put together and fun to play. The music in this game too, it really mixes well with its visuals. It does such a good job of just making you feel good, man. Now, where I think this game falters a little bit is in its story. I prefer more serious stories in my Sonic games. Yes, I prefer serious stories about a blue hedgehog. I mean, the story in this game is not bad. It's more cookie cutter. It's just like another adventure with Sonic the Hedgehog. I just kind of wish it was more, you know? But the final boss of this game is amazing. All the bosses of this game are amazing. I'm not a huge fan of the one in the water level, but that's whatever. But I think this goes up into B+. Sonic Colors Ultimate. Now this is just the remaster of Sonic Colors. I don't think it does a lot different. It's got a shinier coat of paint. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you any of the quality of life changes. I still think it goes in the same tier. It's got some improvements from the original game. When it first came out, I probably would have put it in D because it was really really buggy. But when I decided to play it, they had already patched a lot of that out. Playing it, it was just a really nice revisit of Sonic Colors. Sonic Generations. Now this was a big one. I believe this was an anniversary game and they just really wanted to celebrate everything about Sonic, about what makes Sonic great, about what people love about him, and they did it they pulled it off just so perfectly. Like, Sonic's stuck in time and he has to like revisit like all these past levels, and you get to play as both 2D and 3D Sonic, and the story's really straightforward and simplistic, but I love the character interactions because they have a lot of characters here. Almost everybody's here. But dude, it's the gameplay. Dude, the gameplay in this game is so good. Every level is so fun to play. The revamped music from all these games is so incredibly good. And the bosses, dude, all the bosses are really fun. The final boss is not the greatest. I mean, going Super Sonic is always cool, but I don't know, this game just feels like really replayable. Like, I've gone back and played Sonic Generations quite a bit. In my personal opinion, Sonic Generations is really close to an S rank, but it's not quite there. I do think it's an A rank, like really high up here, but personal preference really has Black Knight over Generations because storybook Sonic games is just something I really want to come back, and it's something I just really love in Sonic games. So yeah, Sonic Generations sits right below Black Knight. The first live-action Sonic movie, starring Jim Carrey. I believe this was one of the biggest turnarounds in movie history, period. When they first revealed this movie, Sonic had this ugly as sin design. but then they took feedback from the fans and immediately turned it around and they released this. But anyway, the movie itself is pretty good. Like, as the movies have been coming out, they've got more of a sense of what Sonic fans want to see in these movies, and what they want to see is not these human characters on screen. You know, they want to see Sonic. That's why they came to see the Sonic movie. I do not count Jim Carrey as a live-action character. That man is a living cartoon. Like, this is a different universe for Sonic, but I do think this movie does a good job of starting up that universe. There are some good jokes here and there, and if I'm being honest, I do think that Jim Carrey just hard carries the comedic moments in these movies, dude. He is the funny. But yeah, I'll give the first live-action Sonic a B. Sonic X Shadow Generations. They really didn't think about that name, did they? Or was it a marketing scheme? So as you can see here, we've got Sonic X Shadow Generations and we've got Shadow Generations as two separate things. Basically, we're just talking about the remaster for Sonic Generations here. And I don't have much to say, but I do like the game's new shiny coat of paint, and I do think it is the definitive way to play Sonic Generations these days. Not to mention it's bundled with Shadow Generations, but we'll get to that now. This is a big one. Shadow Generations is the best Sonic anything we've had in a long time. If you go watch my top 10 games of 2024, spoiler, I think I put Shadow Generations at like 3.5. The video's called Top 10.5 Games, but it's like number 3.5. It's like, it's up there, dude. My top 4 games of 2024. And like my favorite Sonic game that's come out in a long time. Is it really? Could you really even call it a Sonic game? It's a Shadow game. And this game kind of presents a problem for Sonic, at least. I just think Shadow is just way funner to play. He has such a variety of skills to work with. Man, Shadow's past just makes me tear up, man. It attacks you in the heartstrings. But anyway, the gameplay. Shadow Generations, dude. Sonic Team locked the hell in. It's so damn good. Every level of Shadow Generations is kick ass. The music, the bosses, good God, the bosses, dude. Shadow feels so good to play. Like, as of this video, this is like the most recent Sonic game, but can every Sonic game be this good and look this good? This game looks incredible. I'm not even exaggerating when I put Shadow Generations at the top of S rank. This is what I want from Sonic games. Like, I need more. The second live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So at this point, they started to know what we wanted more from the Sonic live-action movies, and they focused more on the Sonic characters. And I do think this is like a much better movie, because you get like Sonic and fighting Knuckles. Hell, you get Super Sonic, you get Tails. I do think about a good quarter of this movie is held back because of just the weird focus on these live-action characters that I really don't care about, but I do think there was enough Sonic here and amazing good Sonic like movieage to make a great movie. There are some pretty hype moments in this movie. So I'm gonna put this one up in B+. I'm gonna put it above Sonic Colors here. Sonic Forces. Oh god, I did not enjoy this game. None of the levels were like memorable at all. I don't remember having fun. It had this weird character creator, which at first I thought was cool, but now that I think back on it, it's a little cringe. And the main villain, Infinite, is mega cringe. Dude, like his backstory, like what? He gets slapped by Shadow and then he's just like crying about it. That's like his whole motive for wanting to destroy the world. The only good thing to come out of this game is Infinite's theme song, which I do think is a very kick-ass theme song. So just because of Infinite's theme song, I won't give it an F, but I will put it at the bottom of D. The live-action Sonic 3 movie. It's been a few months since the movie came out, so I don't know if you can call it recency bias, but this movie is some S-tier stuff. This movie wastes no time and immediately gets into the action, and Shadow is so damn cool, voiced by Keanu Reeves. And spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet, so I'm gonna give you a chance to go away for a second. Okay, 3, 2, 1. when Live and Learn kicks in, dude, I jumped out of my seat in the theater. I was like, yes! Dude, this is what we wanted, dude. Oh my god, this is amazing. I didn't grow up with a Sonic Adventure 2 battle. Like, I recently played that. I still have nostalgia for that song because of Smash Bros. Brawl. The fight scenes are so cool. We get Super Sonic and Super Shadow. I can't wait for Sonic 4, dude. Like, even if they don't have Jim Carrey for Sonic 4, I really do feel like they've built up enough of a universe here for it to stand on its own 2 feet. Though it really would be weird to have Sonic stories without Eggman, because, you know, Eggman's kind of the central evil pillar of the series. But moving on to Sonic Frontiers. Now, when I initially jumped into Sonic Frontiers, I thought the open world was kind of cool. I never fully came around to loving it, but what made me fall in love with this game is its boss battles. And I do think that Shadow Generations took a lot of inspiration from just how hype the boss battles are in Sonic Frontiers. Like the cinematography, the way you fight the Titans, the music. Oh my god, the adrenaline pumping music. It's just next level, dude. The way they do bosses in Sonic Frontiers and in Shadow Generations is how I want them to do bosses in every Sonic game. Like, hell, even if they add bosses in like Sonic Cross Worlds, do that. But Sonic Frontiers as a whole, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the open world. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I do think it's a bit undercooked. I do think they could do it again, but they would have to really fine-tune some things. I don't like the way Sonic controls. He feels really slippery, and I don't like all the dash panels and grind rails. Okay, hold on. I don't mind the dash panels and the grind rails. What I hate, though, is being forced into 2D sections. Like, you're just running trying to get somewhere, and then you accidentally hit a dash panel that sends you into a forced 2D section, and it's just so aggravating and it wastes your time. A lot of this game really just feels like I'm playing a game that it's like in an alpha build or something, like it's not finished. What really makes this game worth playing for me is just getting to those boss battles, dude, because those boss battles are just, dude, they're next level. I'm gonna put Sonic Frontiers below the second live-action movie here, up in B+. I really do think the Frontier series has a lot of potential. They just need to fine-tune some things. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. Again, when it comes to like a Sonic racing game, I would prefer something like Sonic R, where everybody's running, because in the Sonic world, that just makes sense. But what's so cool about Transformed is that you're not just in a car, you're also in a boat, and you're also in a plane, because you transform. It's super fucking cool. I think I'll put it up here right underneath Sonic R. Now we get to Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. I'm pretty sure I've played all the Olympic Games, but dude, in my opinion, they all really play the same. They might have different games, but they're essentially all the same game. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're great. Honestly, I think they're kind of a C-tier game. So, in my opinion, all the Olympic games are going in C. They're fun. Don't get me wrong, they're fun. But that's just kind of how I feel about them. Get up here. Get up there. Alright, now we move on to the mobile game, Sonic Dash. I've played this game more than I'd like to admit. It's, it's Temple Run, but Sonic. It's simple. You just make Sonic jump or move left or right, and then you jump. There's really not much to say about this game. I think it goes at like the top of D. The Sonic Boom animated show. This show is so good, dude. It is jarring how good the show is versus how bad the game is. Like, the show doesn't have an overarching story plot. It's just a bunch of mini stories, really. But they're all really well written, and they're just really funny. And the voice actors, dude, they have such good comedic timing and delivery. Like, oh, dude. This show was a blast. It's a boom. Like, just as a comedy, I think I'm gonna put it in C+. Like, it's a pretty enjoyable show. Sonic Prime. It's a bit more of a serious show, and it does have an overarching plot. which I really appreciate. I was pretty hooked on this show from beginning to end. I do love my serious Sonic stories. I like everyone's designs in this show, and I do like the concept of Sonic exploring alternate worlds, because it's something you're completely unfamiliar with. But yeah, I think the show's a blast. I'm gonna put Sonic Prime up at the top of B. Okay, next we're talking about the Knuckles show, and I love how the only thing you can see in the icon is Uck, because that's a pretty good description of it. I don't even know why it's called Knuckles. It should be called Wade and Knuckles. Most of the show is about Wade. And, you know, I don't hate Wade, but Wade's not the reason I came to watch this show. Like, I watched it, and I didn't hate it, but good God, I would not watch it again, dude. I think this goes at the bottom of C-. And last but not least, we're talking about the Sonic IDW Comics, just in general. Ignore everything else down here. Remember, this was my never played section. The Sonic IDW Comics, I collect them and I read them, but the way I prefer to consume them is watching Adrenaline dubs, dude. They are so good at dubbing these comics. If you haven't seen them before, definitely go check them out. Their team is so talented, and they make going through the comics so engaging because they make it so cinematic. I can't recommend them enough. As for the story of these IDW comics, I think I'm caught up, but some parts almost had me tearing up, man. Like, it's some seriously well-written stuff. But also everything is just incredibly well-drawn, and the way they use color is just amazing. But yeah, man, the story, like, I'm invested, and I can't wait for the next few issues. I usually wait for the collections to come out in one big book, and then I order the book, and then I read through the comics, and dude, the IDW comics are amazing. And I think they deserve to go about right here under Sonic Mania. And there we go, that's my Sonic tier list. How long have I been talking? About 2 hours? Yeah, it's about what it feels like. Anyway, I'm about to take this into the editing booth. I know this is going to take a long time. My Zelda video took about 80 hours, so I'll let you know in post how long this one took. 66 hours. Please like, comment, subscribe, slap the bell. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.